So to start off today, we're talking about what is the difference between selling and closing. First of all, I'd say this is a great question. This is very important, and there is a distinction. This is something that I think not a lot of people really understand. I know personally when I first discovered this, it completely changed the way that I view the sales process. So let's start with selling. In short, I'd say sales leads to the close. This is also where marketing comes in, but closing is the final phase in the sales process. The closing stage, on the other hand, is where you're confirming commitment. Most of us are really trying to make the close without ever trying to make the sale, and frankly, it boils down to just being impatient and lazy. People say things like, "Oh, I'm not trying to sell you." And the reality is, yes, you are. It's okay. Just tell me, how is this going to make my life better? Selling isn't a bad thing. Selling is identifying value. It's building rapport. So if you've done your job as a salesman, then the closing is easy. The close should be the quickest part of the process. It's the sale that takes time. Now, what's tricky about closing is this is the first time in the process you've actually put your customer at risk, right? I mean, they could lose money. They could feel like they're getting ripped off, or they could feel like, I fell for it. This is where buyer's remorse becomes a thing. Now, a big mistake I see a lot in a lot of sales professionals is they're making the ask too soon. People do not move quickly into making a commitment. It takes time. You can't jump over the first phase of selling. Just quit rushing for the commitment. It's just not going to work. Just relax. If you haven't made people curious, if you haven't enlightened them on how our product and service is going to make their life better, then what makes you think you're going to land the deal? There's time in between each of these phases, and especially between commitment or closing. And an important thing to note here is the higher the price, the longer it takes between these phases. So really a big question to ask yourself is, where are we losing people? Usually it's that we're being too pushy. It's not that we're being salesy. People want to know how your product can benefit their lives. That's how I define sales anyway. The problem is that we're trying to skip past that first part of the process and go straight for the end result. And then we wonder why we're not making sales. It's like asking somebody who doesn't know you to get married. That's not how relationships work. They said no, or they weren't ready. Big shocker. The problem is we're being impatient. You need to remain patient. Your potential customer needs plenty of education in the form of physical or digital pieces of marketing collateral, or perhaps a series of follow-up emails that eventually asks for the sale to buy. Otherwise, you just better hope that somewhere along the way they came across this product and they became enlightened and, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and then they just stumble upon commitment. We need to ask for a commitment in the appropriate, respectful order. That's why we say things like, "Oh, I'm not sold." What that really means is, I'm not convinced yet. So it takes some convincing, and that's okay. And how you do that is going through the first phase of selling, by doing the work of building a trusted relationship with your customer. We don't know each other, right? That's why you're doing this. You're screening me to get to know me first. It would be super weird if you just said yes without getting to know me. Now, do we need to become best friends? No, but you do need to know that you can trust me. It's no different in sales. There needs to be a know, like, and trust factor. So that's it for me. I hope that answers all your questions, and I hope to hear back from you soon. Thanks, guys.